Hello, I'm Mark Homer of Progressive Property. Been investing in property for about 15 years. Developed, converted, refurbished about 600,000 square foot of commercial and residential properties. Developed over £100 million worth of property. We manage about 800 tenants from this building, and we have a training business. Total something like 70 staff. So prior to moving to Wilkins Southworth just over 10 years ago, my requirements were an accountant who would really focus on making sure that our businesses were tax efficient, somebody who really knew the rules and understood in a very detailed way how we could structure our businesses for effectively to make them more attractive to banks, to make them more tax efficient, and also so that we really understood how they were operating properly, so that we could analyse our performance, so that we could put them in the right place to grow for the future. Wilkins Southworth and Chris Wilkins specifically are a firm, and Chris, with a huge amount of experience and very much sort of practical day-to-day experience, at the coalface of not just sort of taking all of your tax tax affairs and information and filing it, but dealing with what comes afterwards, all of those inquiries, all of those questions from HMRC. Chris has done that for many, many years. He manages tax inquiries on behalf of a lot of other accountants. So it's sort of a reversed engineered approach where he looks at all of your sort of specific circumstances, what you're doing, your types of businesses, your sort of personal position, and reverse engineers it to make sure that you're operating in the most efficient way possible. For many years I'd used other firms of accountants, and I still do deal with other accountants, and what I find generally is you tend to speak to the person who knows something about tax or has high level knowledge, and it's almost like a lot of them aren't really joined up. They sort of give you all these ideas, and then at the end of the year-end accounts are sent over from your accounts department or your bookkeeper. Often they go to somebody maybe more junior, and it just seems to be a sort of rudimentary filing process with not much thought, not much analysis of what activity is actually going on behind the scenes, and you just end up not taking advantage of reliefs, not structuring your business in the most efficient way possible, and that's very much to the detriment of clients, and it's not really a place I want to be. The main benefits we've gained from dealing with Wilkins Southworth have been that analysis of our activities, and the sort of that communication that we get back, which helps us then look at all of our operations, look at all the sort of activities that we're involved in, whether it be property, whether it be sort of property letting, construction, conversion, and our training businesses, and sort of work out how we can run those businesses more efficiently and effectively, so that we can sort of reduce our liability and also make sure that we're fully compliant. Tax, HMRC, and all the legislation that sits behind is complicated. There's a lot going on. There are a lot of different things to file and to make sure that you're complying with, and it's very important, especially with VAT. The complexity is on a very, very high level. So very important that you've got an accountant that really understands all of that detail or knows where to get that information from to help you, and then can help you in a sort of pragmatic way when the inspector's there asking you a question, or when you've got a supplier pushing against you saying that they need to invoice you in a certain way and it's not right. You need the accountant there to come back in a timely way and a robust way to sort of fight your corner. Wilkins Southworth are superb at solving problems in a practicable fashion. This is real world, non-theory based accounting. This is what happens when things go wrong, what happens in the real world. Let's work back from that. Let's create a process, a structure, a strategy, a way of filing accounts, and making sure within your business that your sort of processes are robust enough, or you're using the right accounting software so that you can head off those problems before they materialise. Wilkins Southworth approach to HMRC inquiries is like no other accountant that I have dealt with over the years. It's let's just say it's robust. Chris clearly knows the rules backwards, and he knows exactly where to find the legislation. Quite often, he knows more than some of the people asking the questions, which is a definite benefit. You'll get some questions on, I don't know, maybe VAT or some other transaction you've been involved in, or a personal tax return. And they might be quite generic, and accountants that I've used in the past may be slightly worried by letters that they get from HMRC, or feel that they may be out of their depth. They won't admit that, and often they sort of do things that they don't need to, or send information back that they don't need to. What I've found with Wilkins Southworth is because of their experience dealing with inquiries, and I know lots of other accountants use them for inquiries as well, they're a lot more effective at sort of managing and answering the questions in the right way, but strictly within the rules. The result of that is the length of the tax inquiry, in my experience, reduces significantly, which is, let's face it, that's the major cost. When HMRC come, the accountancy bills can go into the tens of thousands of pounds, and it takes up a lot of time. There's a lot of questions being answered. I had one go on for, I think it was 3 years, and it's a drag. It's a drag on your sort of mental well-being. It plays on your mind. It takes up a hell of a lot of time, and it takes up a lot of accountancy bills. So having an accountant who can sort of take that weight off your shoulders, sort of shut the inquiry down within a shorter space of time, and deal with HMRC robustly, is a major benefit.